Chapter 1. Shadows on Suburbia. In the tranquil embrace of suburbia, where manicured lawns and picket fences adorned each home, I found myself living a life of quiet monotony. My name is Michael Harris, and I'm a software engineer who, by day, navigates the complexities of lines of code, and, by night, tries to navigate the hushed shadows of suspicion. It all began innocently enough. My neighbor, Richard Lawson, a reserved man in his late 40s, moved in next door. There was nothing particularly remarkable about him, yet as the days turned into weeks, my idle imagination began to sculpt sinister tales around his quiet demeanor. Chapter 2. Innocent Observations. It started with innocent observations, a flickering basement light late at night, hushed conversations in the backyard that carried on the wind. My curiosity morphed into suspicion, and suspicion into an obsession. I began cataloging every move Richard made, dissecting his life for signs of deviance. My evenings were spent behind closed curtains, peering through blinds like a voyeuristic detective. I convinced myself that I was merely a concerned neighbor, watching out for the safety of the community. Chapter 3. The Web Unravels. As my obsession deepened, I began planting seeds of paranoia in the minds of our tight-knit neighborhood. An overheard comment about a string of unsolved murders, a strategically placed newspaper clipping. Each maneuver was a careful stitch in the tapestry of suspicion. The neighborhood's whispers grew louder, and the eyes that once looked upon Richard with casual indifference now held a hint of mistrust. It was a masterstroke, a web of deceit woven with meticulous precision. Chapter 4. Crossing the Line. One fateful night, driven by my own twisted narrative, I decided to confront Richard. My heart raced as I knocked on his door, a rehearsed concern etched on my face. He welcomed me into his home, unaware of the predator that lurked within the guise of a concerned neighbor. As I subtly probed him with questions about his nightly activities, a smile played on his lips, innocence painted in shades of dark irony. My frustration grew, my suspicions only deepening as he appeared unfazed by my intrusive inquiries. Chapter 5. A Macabre Revelation. The next morning, I awoke to a revelation that sent shivers down my spine. The news broadcasted the discovery of a dismembered body, a gruesome echo of the very crimes my orchestrated whispers had sown in the neighborhood. The irony struck me, a taste of dread that lingered on my tongue. I had meticulously framed Richard, setting the stage for his inevitable fall, but in the shadows of reality, the true murderer stood cloaked in the false veneer of a concerned neighbor. Chapter 6. An Unraveling Facade. The neighborhood, gripped by fear, rallied against the very man I had targeted. Rumors spread like wildfire, painting Richard as the embodiment of evil. He became a pariah, isolated by suspicion, and yet my heart pulsed with a twisted satisfaction, oblivious to the monstrous revelation about to unfold. Chapter 7. The Unveiling Darkness. As the walls of my meticulously crafted facade began to crumble, a haunting realization loomed overhead. The true serial killer, masked beneath the guise of a concerned neighbor, was none other than myself. The web of deceit I had spun tightened around me, a noose of my own creation. The eerie smile on Richard's face, once dismissed as a sign of innocence, now mocked me from the television screen as he was exonerated by airtight alibis. The twisted truth pierced through the veil of my delusion. The real killer had worn the mask of a concerned neighbor, a predator disguised in plain sight. Epilogue. The Abyss Within. As I sit here, haunted by the chilling truth, the walls of my own creation closing in, I realized that the monster I sought outside had lurked within, The sinister shadow that had cast its pallor over suburbia was the reflection of my own darkness. In the echoing silence of my conscience, I am left to grapple with the grotesque reality. I, the puppet master of deceit, had danced blindly upon the strings of my own malevolence. In the silent corridors of my mind, the line between victim and villain blurred, and I, the harbinger of suspicion, became the architect of my own demise.